All right, welcome, welcome. All right, so let's get started. So this is our final projects for Capstone Projects in Computer Science 4398. My name's Professor Applebaum, and these are my students. We're going to start the demos with a project called Round. The second project will be Toolshed. The third project will be Discord Classroom, and our last project will be Study Buddy. I think you're really going to enjoy it, so let's just get started. Round whenever you're ready.
Hello. All right, the floor is all ours. All right. Make sure everyone's here. Key and Jared. All right. Well, I think we're waiting for Tyler to get in before we start. Tyler, you all ready?
Sorry, hold on. You can hear me through here, right?
Yep. Okay. Let me share my screen. All right. Y'all can see my screen, all right?
Yep.
All right. Okay. So, hi, everyone. My name is Ethan, and this semester, we at Team Round have been building an iOS/Android application that we're super excited to show you all. Round is a mobile app that creates an environment for students and friends to easily organize each other's schedules for availability and share contact information with convenience as its top priority. In academic group projects, students will be able to easily begin communications with each other and synchronize their schedules to become more successful in their academic endeavors. In friend groups, friends can now easily coordinate each other's busy lives and adjust accordingly to spontaneous events. With this application, there is little need for one particular individual to take charge. The responsibility lies within the application itself.
Hi, my name's Kian, and before we start showing the app itself, I'd like to introduce a bit of a nightmare of a scenario, okay? A very real nightmare. Class just got dismissed. Right as soon as we get up to leave, the professor hits us with an extreme bombshell. There's a group project, and taped to the exit is the groups and its members. Naturally, people are murmuring and freaking out, right? It's a very stressful situation to be in. There's like a minute to gather up everyone in the group and get the flow of communication going. Frankly, this time restraint doesn't usually bode well. And if you've got another class on the other side of campus in 10 minutes, it's just, everything's just going to start collapsing and imploding. However, I was prepared and I have Round. Instead of scrambling to get each other's contact information, I log into Round, create a group, and then everyone else in the group doesn't even have to have Round. It's really awesome. They can install it later. I create that group and I generate two codes. I get a generated code, which I can send people as a string. And then I have a QR code that I can also give my group mates for them to take pictures of, store, do whatever they need with either code. And then they can use it later on through Round.
All right, thank you, Kian. Let me switch screens here to our presentation. we are going to show Tyler who's going to preview our app. One moment, please. Just all right. Oh, I can see my screen, right? All right, cool.
Oh, that's very blurry, but I guess it's good enough. So, all right, I've opened up my app. And here we are logged in. Hello, my name is Tyler, and I'll be showing you our demo on the Android side of our application. I'm going to create this group for this said scenario. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to actually, I'm going to create a group. I'm going to name it Capstone. Oh, Capstone. And I'm going to put this as an emoji, and I'm going to set this to this color. So as you can see, now I have created this group for everyone to see. I'm going to go into my group name. I'm going to share this group to all my group members in my group. So I'm going to display the QR code, and this is what the QR code is going to look like that I'm able to scan. So now I'm going to go to, I'm not going to join this group. I'm going to join a group on another phone to show you that I can scan it. So let's go to here. So here I can do a scan QR code. I'm going to allow permissions. And as you can see my camera. I'm going to scan the QR code. This is our group. As you can see, there's another account that I'm named on it too. In this scenario, we were able to create an online group quickly with all of our group members. Now let's show you how Round makes scheduling and group communication easier. At this point, all group members download Round if they need to and join the group from either the QR code or generated code. Now let's take a look at our synchronized calendar. So this is what our calendar would look like on everyone's accounts. There's my another account that has more events too, and then here's our Keen's events as well as mine. So let's you can see that the Google Calendar generated by the app has already been populated with everyone's Google Calendar time. Keep in mind that Round keeps privacy in mind, does not say who populated each event and why that time is unavailable. As a group mate, I've already synced my Google Calendar so you can see some of my events. Unfortunately, something has come up and I cannot make it on the original day. Let's manually input a new event so that my group mates do not try to schedule something that day. So I'm going to create an event on the May 1st. That time's fine. Okay, now I have an event that lasts for an hour. We can see that it auto updated. All right, now that the newly added event is updated on the calendar, let us request an updated time. So request. So we can all be free on April 28th at 9 a.m. You know what? I actually just realized that I'm busy at that time too. So let's go back and generate a new best time. Oh, I hit it twice accidentally. We can now all meet on April 30th at 9 a.m. for our group presentation. Okay, that time works for me. So at this point, we've created our group. Everyone has joined, and we've got our first meeting time scheduled. All that's left to do now is to get the flow of communication started and start the first group chat. We can see here that there's a tie, but I want to use the Discord one. So I'm going to take Mr. Bob Jones, which is Kian's account, to start a new direct message with Ian. And Ethan. I'm sorry.
Oh, good. I don't think you pressed the confirm button.
Yeah, I didn't. I'm
Yep.
so sorry.
No problem. No problem.
Okay. Where's Oh, there it was hidden.
Yeah, it was the
All right, now
Zoom
I can
share.
start my conversation. Okay, that's it for me.
All right, so that was a quick walkthrough around. We hope you all enjoyed the presentation. And does anybody have any questions for us?
Yeah. So what was the like the original inspiration for the application, and what was the most challenging aspect of developing this? But yeah,
So
congratulations.
thanks. So the inspiration as the person who brought up this project's idea, the main inspiration was just the absolute chaos that is starting group projects curricularly. It's not there's not many people I know that have fun experiences with it. It may turn into something absolutely fruitful, such as Team Round. We work as a great team and all that, but the beginnings is kind of hard to get that communication going. So I wanted to create an app that makes that process seamless and easy and fast. As you saw, Tyler was able to create a group and join a group in less than a minute. So the whole process is very fast. But yeah, I've had plenty of situations in the past where I've been assigned a group and you waste days, you waste time, you waste development time just because you have one group member saying, "Oh, I love using Snapchat. I can only use Snapchat." This other group member says, "Oh, but I really prefer Discord." But in this app, as you saw at the end there, Tyler was able to see that the Discord, I believe Discord, Snapchat, and Instagram were popular ones. So he just chose Discord and he was able to make a group chat with all the members. And for the question on which part was the most challenging, I'd like to have any of my other group members answer that. Honestly, I feel like
I would be happy to answer that
Kian-
one.
Kian-
Oh, hello. Probably the most difficult portion was actually getting the cross-platform parts to work. Flutter likes to advertise themselves as this cross-platform sort of a language that you can, or framework that you can use. You can make an Android application, an Apple application. What they don't tell you is that the base framework only works for Android. So you have to go and find one that actually works for Android and works for iPhone. Then when that happens, but then there's like formatting differences you have to do between the two. And before you know it, you really have two separate branches that use the same language, but you're not, it's convenient, but it's like Google lied. They didn't obviously lie, but they made it seem from like from fresh eyes that it was a lot easier than it actually was.
Yeah, I would generally agree with that too.
Yeah, that sounds like the pains of cross platform development for sure. So Katrina asks, if you had to do the whole thing over again from scratch, what would you change? Would you use something else besides Flutter?
So if I was able to do the whole thing over again, I think we made great progress with this project, and I'm really happy with the final product. But I feel like we expended a lot of resources and a lot of creative thought and a lot of time into, again, as Kian said, the cross-platform development. Our app works great on both Android and iOS, but I feel like we spent a lot of time making sure the integrations were both working on both ends. I would definitely maybe stray away from Flutter. I'm feeling a lot of people in the group have a different opinion on Flutter after this project, but it was a great learning experience. I know Jared might have something to say
Yeah,
about that.
I would definitely say like I'm just a big native development guy, and that's kind of what I wanted to do at the beginning. But I think like we had enough people. We had a decent sized group of like 6 people, so I would have just did it like native and have a separate iOS, separate Android one. But yeah.
Are there any other questions from the audience? Checking over here. Okay. Other questions do I have? if we wanted to install Round, where could we go to install it? Do you plan on publishing it in the future?
Yeah, so one of the blockers that we received during our development was the iOS side, especially. We weren't able to properly publish the app. It was a big toughie there. But if you have an Android phone, it is very easy to install our app. If you go to our website, our documentation website, there's instructions there, in-depth instructions to install the APK and install on your Android device. It's very seamless and very well addressed for whoever wrote the instructions in our group, but they did a great job. As for iOS, there are ways to get it installed, but at the moment we don't have a really consistent way to get installed. We do have a version working for our developers and for testing purposes, but we are looking into options in the future for creating a more stable and distributable version.
Yeah, there's instructions in the documentation. You'd have to like clone the repo and run it on a Mac and like download Xcode and build it all from scratch. And you could put it on your phone that way. But yeah, we would have to pay money to have like a developer account and all. So that's why that's the way it is.
All right. And for those in the audience that want to check this out, in the YouTube description, all of the project's websites are in the description. So you can go check that out and see how to install it or just more information about the app. Like Ethan said, it's all there.
And I just saw your question, Katrina. So Katrina asked, I've got another one. Were there any features you wanted to incorporate but didn't have the time to? Yeah, we wanted to incorporate more. So the big part of our app was ease of access and just overall user experience and quality of life and convenience. So we wanted to make all procedures as seamless as possible. We were really happy that we got a great QR code integration where you can easily join a group and create a group therefore, but we wish that we could have made a more seamless integration to creating a group chat and other platforms. For example, at the end there, we saw Tyler was pretty easily able to easily access all of his group members' Discord profiles, and he was able to make a group chat in that regard and get it going. It still took about a minute tops to do that procedure, but for certain platforms, it doesn't work for every single social media platform. But I believe for platforms like Instagram, you can make a group chat with a clickable link or something like that. So we would have loved to get that working, but we also would have liked to get live notifications working, but that also
I can
proved to
talk
be an
more on that,
issue.
Ethan.
Yeah, Tyler.
So I was mainly on that, and you needed a premium Firebase account. Firebase account to allow notifications to send from the server. So we needed to put a credit card information on that, but it would have been free because what we're doing is not that much, because they give you, like, I did a lot of research on this. They give you $300 of credit for to test it out, and then then you would have to pay if you're on like a big app. But yeah, that was unable. We couldn't do that.
One small thing I kind of wanted to add was just like profile pictures. I did like a lot of most of the UI stuff, so I would have liked to add that, but it was just like a nice to have thing that would have taken up more time, so we cut it.
Yeah.
One final feature would be would be more calendar integrations. The APIs to call calendars was frustrating in between different things. Like Google had an amazing API, super easy. And then you go to Outlook's, like, Microsoft Outlook's calendar API, and they're like, oh, you have to go through Azure. And in order to go through Azure, you kind of have to create an Azure account, which means you have to suddenly deal with cloud computing. Or you can kind of do it this other way, which is somehow more roundabout. It just got really muddled really fast to deal with Outlook. And then kind of the same thing happened with Apple Calendar in the end too. Just like the calls to actually get them integrated got incredibly muddled for some reason. It was really frustrating, but that would have, like, if we had more time, absolutely would have loved to add more calendars.
Okay. Last question. Ali on YouTube asked, how long would those $300 of credits with Firebase actually last?
For a big company, not that much, but for any small thing, yeah, it'd take you all the way.
Nice, nice. Well, congrats everyone. You did a great job. We're gonna move to the Toolshed project next, but give it up to Round. It's the clapping emoji. There we go.
All right, so we're all set. I'm just going to share my screen and then we'll begin. Cool. I'm just going to assume that my whole team is here. Hi, everyone. First, I want to thank everyone for coming today. My name's Justin, and I'm here today with Aaron, Cam, Destiny, Kat, and Nate. And today I want to talk to you about Toolshed. So Toolshed is a web application that was built to make it easier for people to buy and sell tools online. With many employees working from home and setting up home offices, do-it-yourself do-it-yourself projects are at an all-time high. And with internet resources and basic knowledge, you can get a significant amount of work done without hiring an expensive professional to complete the job. However, purchasing tools for a do-it-yourself project can be expensive, especially if it's a tool that you only use once or twice. Toolshed was created to address this issue by offering a platform for users to rent tools from others in the local community. This way, users can profit from what's sitting in their toolshed while the items are not being used. Toolshed makes it easy for users to search for and rent tools that they need for do-it-yourself projects. With a few clicks, users can find a tool that they need to rent from someone in the local community. This helps keep costs down and costs low for do-it-yourself projects while also reducing waste and putting your idle tools to use.
Yeah, thanks, Justin, for that introduction on Toolshed. And I actually have a friend, his name's Bob the Builder, and I know he has a plethora of tools that he has laying around after the cancellation of his TV show. He hasn't used them for the past 10 years, and he's been talking about wanting to make some extra money. So I think that I can help him create some tools and listings and help Bob the Builder out. And since Bob isn't too technical savvy, I will create his listings and tools for him. So here I am on the Toolshed website, and I'm already logged into Bob's account. I can add a tool. And one of the tools that I know Bob has is a tile saw. See, a good description might be a tool designed for cutting various types of material. And I know this tool is battery operated, so I threw that in there as well. If we select a category, I think this falls under home renovations. And then for a maker, it's a Diamondback tool saw. Then I also have a photo of this tool, so I'll add that as well and create it. And then all I need to do is add the listing as well. And then Bob can publish this tool and other people can purchase it.
Thanks to Kat, Bob now has the beginnings of his Toolshed account, and I noticed though that the price was set high on his tool. So Bob needs to go edit his tool because he's not going to make any money with the listings the way they are now. It's too much. The price is too high. So we're going to go ahead and recreate that tool here real quick with the correct price. So we need to create a listing. Let's just say for something like this, it might be $30 an hour. And let's say, Bob doesn't really care too much about how long the tool is gone. So he might just whole week, let's just say 3 weeks. Actually, do this. And now the tool is listed. And Bob will actually make money because the price is reasonable. For 3 weeks, $30 a week, pretty good. So now I'm going to hand it on over to Aaron, and he's going to show us how people actually contact each other and rent out these tools.
Hi, so we actually have another friend named Tom, who is a brand new homeowner and wants to remodel his bathroom. And to do so, he wants to find and rent tools that will help him with the remodel. So Tom, once entering the website, begins by zooming into the map to get a better view of the listings. He notices that as he moves around, he sees new listings. So he wants to widen up his search radius just to see all the listings around his area. Tom notices that there are some tools that aren't very relevant to his remodeling job, so he decides to filter by tool category. In this case, he filters by home renovation. Looking through the available home renovation tools, Tom decides that he wants a tile saw as his first tool to be rented. So to try and filter out only the tile saws, he searches up tile and sees that there's 5 available tile saws in the area. Tom has had experience with Diamondback tile saws, so wants to see if any of these tile saws are Diamondbacks, and sees that there are 3 of them. Tom has had poor experiences in the past with renting tools and wants to make sure that he's only renting from the best user of it possible. So he tries to adjust the star rating and to see which user has the best star rating, and sees that the user that's listing this tile saw has a star rating of 5. He clicks on it to see more details. On this page, Tom sees the relevant details for the listing that he chose. He sees an image of the tile saw, a description for it, and most importantly, he sees the rate for the tool. He sees that he'll be renting it for $100 a day for a maximum of 5 days. Tom also notices that there's recommended tools, but since he's happy with the listing that he chose, he decides to contact Bob and try to rent this tool. Here, he messages Bob and returns to the homepage, waiting for a reply. Oh, Tom notices that he got a new message in his message box. Clicks on the chat and sees a reply from Bob. He replies, "Thanks, that sounds great. Let's set up a time to meet," and sends. And now I'll be handing it off to Destiny to show how a tool renter can review another user.
So Dan recently rented a tile saw from Bob. It worked really well for his bathroom renovations, and it worked exactly as described. So now he wants to give a review to Bob. So here, he can write a review to Bob and say it was great, it worked as described. And then he'll give a 5-star rating. He'll submit it. And then when Bob sees it, he'll be able to see it under his reviews. And that pretty much concludes the demo for Toolshed.
All right, great job. So my first question is, for the recommended tools section, what goes into those recommendations?
So all of the listings are rated by relevance in terms of how relevant they are to that tool using PostgreSQL technologies like TS Vector. And about the first N listings, I forget how many, are displayed.
Okay. What was the most difficult aspect of building this project?
I guess it really depends on who you ask.
Yeah, that's always the case.
I struggled a lot with WebSockets. It was tough to get that live chat feature going.
Yeah, I could imagine. And it worked. It was excellent. Anybody else want to chime in for difficult parts of the project? Technically.
Yeah, I think one thing that we tried to have everybody contribute equally. So we tried to have everybody kind of work on their own component, and it ended up being, 6 individuals all doing full stack, which was a little bit of a tricky situation because it's a 0 to 100% learning curve for everybody, instead of maybe, in the beginning, taking a step back, gauging everyone's comfort zone, gauging everyone's comfort level, and also just what they want to do in general, and giving them the freedom to do that, and then taking responsibility for different pieces. So that was a hurdle.
Yeah. Any takeaways from doing that full stack development and for the audience, full stack is you're both working on a front end technology, like what the user sees, the back end technology, which is like everything that makes the thing work, and just all of the server side stuff to deliver the application. Like what are the big takeaways? Is it something that you would do later in life, or would you pick one and then stick with that?
Yeah, it's a good question. Anyone from the group?
I'll speak on it. I mean, I plan on going into mobile development, and that tends to be pretty full stack. I like it. I enjoy it.
Yeah. Anybody else have thoughts on that? Yeah, mobile can get pretty full stack. Oh, Katrina has a question. What are features you weren't able to incorporate in the time you had, but you would have had it, or what you would do if you had another sprint? I think it's an excellent question.
If we had more time, we would have implemented notifications to watch when tools get listings, which we didn't have time for that.
Okay. Make sure how we're doing on time. We're doing great. Yeah, no, that's any other features that you can think of that were sort of that you discovered later that you would want to put into it, but didn't have time to?
This might be a little bit bigger than one sprint, but at least I was kind of hoping down the line to have some sort of actual structured renting thing involving QR codes or security or something. Like, we were only able to get to a chat. I think it would have been cool, a big value add to do more, but you really only have so much time.
Yeah. What would that look like? The hypothetically a QR system.
It kind of like an Uber pin, like you'd show up and you'd scan it to make sure they are who they say they are and things like that.
Okay. Anyone else have a question? What would you say if you were to warn future Capstone students about aspects of the project that were like maybe difficult, or what would be your advice to future students that take this class?
It might sound a little bit cliche, but communication really is key. I wish that our group had round at the beginning just to talk and get together, and making sure everybody's on the same page and everyone knows exactly what they're supposed to be doing or what they want to do definitely is helpful. And I'd recommend any person who takes the Capstone course to make sure they brush up on their communication skills.
Yeah, it's probably the most difficult portion. Yeah, I think, Nate, do you have a thought?
Yeah, kind of going off of that idea of communication, like Git, being able to know a lot about Git and have really good Git foo, so to speak, being able to checkouts, rebases, merges, all that fancy stuff, and then being able to understand how Git works, so you don't like step on other people's code when you merge it. That's a very valuable skill, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I think to kind of add on to that, designating specific roles might mitigate stepping on other people's toes.
What would be like an example of some of those roles? Like, if you were to think about that, like, was it more of a like a mediator to, or like a code mediator of going like, this goes in, this doesn't go in? Is that what you're talking about? Or
no, I mean more like people know they're working on front end, people know they're working on back end, and they also know, like, you know, they're working on very specific tickets. You know, they're much more well defined, I would say.
Yeah, no, yeah, that makes sense. Any other words of wisdom? Well, we still have a few minutes. Did you like the project in the end? That's another great great question.
Personally, yeah, I did. I mean, it's something that would be useful for me in my life, and it was interesting working with tools and such.
All right. I'm gonna check YouTube again because I know they're a little bit behind, to make sure there's no questions there. But I see a lot of my software design students here, so you're also welcome and free to ask questions. I can send you that link. It's all of the streams are on capstone.iainapplebaum.com. Any other questions? What was the original inspiration for making an application like this?
So I can probably take that over. I pitched the idea right after COVID. My wife and I moved from Center City out to Bucks County and bought a house up here. We fully understood budgeting wise, we had enough money to buy the house, and we had a certain chunk that we can do for home renovations. But that chunk for home renovations, as we dug deeper into a house that didn't need any work, we wanted to have a little extra money. So we found out that doing these jobs ourselves, you can save so much money, because most of the time you're paying for labor. So like we have all hardwood floors, resurfacing all the hardwood floors, I'm going to make up a number, but it's like 80% labor, 20%, stained polyurethane and some sanding pads. The rest are, big machines that can do the work, but, they last for years. So if we only need them for 5 to 7 days, then it was easier to borrow them from people. So I have, we have a buddy down the street. His name's Gary. Not everyone had a Gary. Gary's a retired subcontractor that's got every tool in his basement. I could always text him to send him pictures of something I'm working on, like a door jamb or floor or something, and he'd be like, "Just swing over. We'll have a beer. I'll send you home with a tool." And then that was it. Not everyone has that kind of relationship, and also that situation, I didn't really need to pay him too much money. But instead of maybe going to a Home Depot or Lowe's and renting a tool, or buying a tool is scary. The one tool that Aaron had listed, I think now you can get on Amazon for like $1,200, and it's just a wet tile saw. So I mean, if you're doing a kitchen, buying that probably isn't reasonable if you're doing just one kitchen. It's probably reasonable if you're in the business of doing kitchens and home renovations, but for 1 week, it's probably not reasonable or feasible to buy that. So just an idea to kind of like an updated Craigslist built for do-it-yourself stuff.
Okay, cool. Well, that's a great place to end. So congrats, Toolshed. We're going to move to Discord Classroom next, but a nice little round of applause for Toolshed. Ooh.
All right. Let me just make sure. Kieran, are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Sweet. All right. So our group is Discord Classroom, and our project was creating a Discord bot that sets up a teaching environment within a Discord server. For those unfamiliar with Discord, it is a communication platform that allows users to create and join communities where they can chat, voice, video call, and share content with each other. As Discord prohibits the use of the word Discord in application names, we opted to name our bot Classroom. And here's our demonstration of what it can do. All right. I'm going to be a college professor who is teaching an American History 101 class. I'm going to use Discord bot Classroom to create this course inside of a Discord server. I have several students who will be joining the lecture and completing schoolwork within the server. I've already added the bot to the server and invited my students. I can see there's a private channel for me to type commands. I'll check what commands I have access to with the help command. Awesome. There's a bunch of tools here I can use to set up the class. Maybe first I'll upload my syllabus to the classroom. Nice. Now my students know what to expect from this course. I should also upload today's slides to the files channel so the students can download them to study. Class is going to start soon, so let me quickly set up an assignment and quiz for the student to take for their first week. First, I'll make the assignment. Let's make the title first essay and have them write a 300-word essay on why learning about American history is important. I'll have it worth 100 points and have it due in 1 week. Looking at the assignments category, I can see it was successfully created. Next, I'll go and create the quiz. Create quiz. Since this is the first day class, I'll create a knowledge check to see how much my students already know. American history knowledge check. I'll give it 5 minutes and have it worth 3 points. Nice. Now I can start adding the questions. I'll make the first question a free response. Who were the founding fathers? Next question, I'll ask, what year was the Declaration of Independence signed? And I'll make this multiple choice by providing the correct answer and also some wrong options. All right, for the last question, let's do something easier. Who was the first U.S. president? Correct answer, George Washington. Submit. Looks good. I'll click done. Under quizzes, I can see the quiz is ready for students to take. To give students a clear idea of what is due this week, I will use the upcoming command. The assignment and quiz I just created is now under the upcoming category. Looks like class is about to begin, so I'll make an announcement to notify the students. Class starts in 1 minute. Join the lecture voice channel. Now that class is here, I can start the attendance with the lecture attendance command. I also have access to other lecture commands that allow me to mute, unmute, and also create breakout rooms. The breakout rooms can be seen right below the lecture. Check the attendance. It still has 5 seconds, but it seems like my students did sign in. Attendance is closed. And now I have a message. I can see who attended the class and who was absent. Let's go back. Once class is over, I can close the breakout rooms by clicking on the X, which removes them, and check the attendance to see who showed up. I'll create another announcement to remind the students to do this week's assignment and quiz. Now let's see what the classroom looks like for one of my students.
I just got done writing my essay for the assignment, so now it's time to upload it. I head over to the assignment text channel and then use the /submit command with my file. It looks like the file I'm trying to upload is too large. It tells me that I can use the upload file command for larger files than the limit. Let me try that. Here I can upload my assignment. Then copy the URL which links directly to the document. I can submit the link for the assignment. Next, I can start taking the quiz. Since the first question is free response, I'll type my answer. I think Ben Franklin is in there, and also George Washington. Since this question is multiple choice, I can simply click the corresponding letter. Pretty sure it's 1776. Finally, the first president is George Washington. I'll now ask the professor a quick question using the /private command in the questions category. What is a good way to study for the next quiz?
Back to the educator's perspective, we can see the submission the student just turned in. To read their essay, I can go to the essay submission, download, and download the essay that they submitted. Once I'm ready to grade the submission, I can use the grade assignment command. I'll give them 90 points and give them a comment of good job. Since this is the student's first grade, it created a text channel under grades in which they can see the score for each work they submit. Next, we can go and grade the quiz that the student took. Here we can see the title of the quiz, the student that took it, and how many points the quiz is worth. Also, each question that the student gave for the quiz. It looks like they got the last 2 questions right, but the first question, they only got some of the founding fathers. So I'll use the grade quiz command and give them a score of 2.2. Now all the students are finished the quiz. I will poll them on how fair they thought the quiz was. I'll use the anonymous polling feature and ask them how fair was the quiz, and say it was difficult, it was fair, it was too easy. Here, the students can answer to the poll. And then once I feel like enough students, I've given enough time for the students to answer, I can end the poll. Seems like it was a fair quiz. I can also see I have a private question from one of my students in the questions category. They asked, what's a good way to study for the next quiz? Another cool feature Classroom has is AI tools that help students to take mock quizzes and create study guides and flashcards. I'll tell the student the next quiz will be on the slides from today's lecture. You can use the tutor commands, study, and flashcards to help you prepare. Let's go back to the student view to see how these commands work.
Looks like the professor responded to my question. Interesting. I didn't know about these tutor commands.
Thanks.
Now that I'm done with this question, I can close it with /close. Let's create a study guide from the PowerPoint with the command. This command reads through the text portions of a PowerPoint and uses GPT's API to create a study guide based off of the content. It takes a little bit to render the response. Now that it generated a study guide, I can use it as input to generate flashcards. Nice. The answers to the flashcards are hidden using spoiler tags, so I can think about the answer before I see it. Finally, as a student, to check my grades, I can use the /grades command to get a report card. Each assignment, quiz, and discussion is shown in their own category, with the total grade shown at the bottom. This concludes our demo of Discord Classroom. Is there any questions?
Amazing job. So I kind of sound like a broken record at this point, but I really want to know, what was the most challenging aspect of this app? Because I think I remember at the beginning of the semester we talked about it, where the group kind of felt like this was going to be kind of like easier, but it actually wasn't. What were some of the things that made it challenging?
I feel like Discord to learn like the commands was pretty easy, but I kind of underestimated how much goes into like Canvas and like all the tools that it has. Basically like just like being able to create an assignment. Thankfully Discord had those modules that made it easier for the teacher to like give input, but then it got complicated when coming to like save each assignment into like the database, and also like whenever you have to take a quiz, having like a timer, having like it show one question at a time in a way that's like easy for the student to see. I think all that combined is what made it difficult. If anyone else has input.
Yeah.
Think so initially we thought the project would be much easier, but as we were working on it, we didn't have that much in depth of how much something could do. For instance, initially we were deploying with Spark Toast, and then we had to change. Same thing with the database. So yeah, I think one of that was our blocker, just not having enough knowledge about a particular software or technology. But yeah.
Yeah, we went through like probably 7 different database designs, which definitely like slowed down our progress.
Also,
Yeah, I can.
I think initially we had to make a decision on whether we want to use PyCord or Discord Pi, and then like our commands had to change accordingly.
Yeah, what was the original inspiration for this? Because I obviously was very excited about this project because I use Discord so much in my classroom. But what inspired you to make this?
I was the project originator. Basically, throughout COVID, whenever we had like online courses, I noticed like students would create a Discord so we could communicate with each other, but that kind of left the professor out of the communication. And I felt like it was a good idea to have the professor there, but they didn't really know what Discord was. So like they didn't know like if we were like having trouble or not. So I feel like having the educator inside the Discord classroom would allow the students to like get questions faster and also like easily communicate with each other.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I mean, I find Discord to be amazing for, you know, that instant communication and organization, and having an app like this or a bot like this that just creates all these fields on the fly is I mean, every semester I'm recreating the same template over and over and over again, even though there is a template feature. Yeah, I'm always kind of recreating stuff, so having something so consistent like this is really neat. um do you plan on kind of hosting it for professors in the future? I see
I don't know. Like there are like a lot of like really minute bugs. So like if this was used like in a professional way, um, like there are some like bugs where students could like take the quiz twice. So like I don't think it could be used like professionally, but like as I feel like a tutor could use this Discord bot. So like if they have like multiple students within like the same class, I think it would be great for that.
Yeah.
So I'll
Do
probably
you
keep it up for like a couple months and then probably just close it.
do any of you see like keeping the project going after the class is over, or are you like, "Whew, it's done,
Yeah.
thank goodness"?
Yeah, it's done, I think. Katrina also. Oh,
Yeah.
Katrina
Yeah.
asked a good question. I recently I gained access to the Open AI API like midway throughout the project, and I thought it was like a great idea to use those tutor commands since I got access. So yeah, it wasn't an original idea. I just thought of it like midway.
Yeah, and it was a very interesting addition too, because I mean, the technology is so new, but actually putting it into unique applications for education is kind of like it kind of fits, because like half of education is afraid of it, and then the other half is trying to look up how can we integrate this in the classroom, and I think that's a good example of integrating it. Are there any other audience questions? Okay, I think that's the time for the next group. Yes. So yeah, let's give a hand to Discord Classroom. That was really something.
All right, we'll go ahead and get started. Hi, and welcome to our final demo of Study Buddy. My name is Mary, and I'm joined by my group members, Alex, Harrison, Katrina, Jay, and Christine. For our demo today, Katrina and I will be representing 2 students talking about our app. Let's get started.
Hey, how's your semester been going?
Honestly, this first semester of college has been an adjustment. It's a lot different than high school with less structure, and I've struggled to keep on top of my school assignments.
It's funny you should mention that. I was having the same experience. There's actually this app I've been using for a while now to help. It's called Study Buddy. Have you heard of it?
No, what's that?
Oh, I would love to show you right now. Okay, so let me tell you about this app. Study Buddy is an application where you care for a virtual pet that gains experience and grows as you complete assignments. And this is mine. His name is Loki, and he is so close to reaching level 20.
Oh, he's so cute.
I know, right? So on the right here are all the tasks that I still have to complete. And here, let me click the tags button just so that I can filter out my tasks to only show my Canvas assignments. And there we go. So these are straight from my Canvas account. I connected it so that I can keep up with my school assignments easier. And whenever I complete a task, I can check it off and get a candy, which shows up in my inventory.
How does it know when you completed a task?
Well, it's a good thing you should ask now because I actually just submitted my calc homework. So now I'll press this Canvas refresh button and it'll update my list. And now you can see it in the completed section. And I have a new candy.
What can you do with it?
Okay, check this out. I'm gonna feed my pet. First of all, which candy is your favorite?
I think you should pick the purple and blue cake.
This one?
Yeah.
Okay, so all I have to do is click and hold it and watch what happens.
Whoa, did your pet just level up? And wait, he has a hat now.
Gosh, level 20, let's go. Anyway, at certain levels, your pet will unlock new accessories like this super cute propeller hat.
Wow, okay, I'm sold. I wish I could sign up for my own right now, but I don't have my computer with me.
Oh, that's no worries. Just go to studybuddy.life on your phone and you can make an account there.
Got it.
Wait, before you register, I want to show you something cool about the app. Can you click the share button on the bottom and scroll down? And now if you click that button right there, you can add it to your home screen.
Cool, so it's sort of like a mobile app too?
Yeah, kinda.
Okay, let me make an account. I think for my username, I'll do I love cats, and my email is also I love cats. And my password.
Is your password also I love cats?
No, definitely not. And my name, my birthday. Tell us about yourself. I'll say I'm super excited for Study Buddy.
You should be.
Okay, I'm signing in now.
Man, just wait till you see these pets.
I'm so excited. Aw. Oh my God, they're all so cute. I wish I could pick all of them.
So which one are you going to pick?
Well, the orange one looks so much like my family cat, Biscuit. I miss her so much, so I think I'll choose that one. Oh, is this a tutorial?
It's a really good way to get used to the app.
Oh yeah, you showed me this. This is showing me how to create and complete tasks and feed my pet and stuff. Oh no, Biscuit is sad. What happened?
Don't worry, your pet's mood will change based on how recently you fed them and if you've been keeping up with your tasks. But right now, it looks like you have an overdue task from the tutorial. So if you just complete it, your pet won't be sad anymore.
Oh, good. I definitely want to keep my pet happy. So now I have a candy, right?
Yeah, why don't you feed it to your pet?
Okay. Yay, I leveled up. So when will I get all of the candies that you have? And wasn't your cat bigger too?
Yeah, I mean, you've just got to keep on using it. New candies unlock over time as you continue to complete tasks, and I've been using it for quite a while now.
Got it. Wait, I saw that you had all of your Canvas assignments already in your to-do list. Can I do that?
For sure, it's actually super easy. So if you go to the Canvas integration page, there's instructions here for how to get a Canvas token, which you can just copy and paste right there.
Got it. Now what?
So you see how that Canvas logo just appeared on the bottom? Go ahead and click it. That's the refresh button. Now that it's done loading, you see all your assignments.
You're right, that was super easy.
Okay, now watch this. Try clicking on your pet.
No way, she said hi. Oh, right, the tutorial mentioned the calendar.
Yeah, if you click on a day where a task is due, you can actually see the description and complete it from there too.
Nice. Thanks for showing me Study Buddy. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to submit my assignment. Biscuit looks hungry.
And that concludes our final demo of Study Buddy. Thank you all so much for joining us, and we are now happy to take any questions you may have.
Fantastic. Yeah, Ian in the comments says, this isn't a question, but I would die for all of those pets. And the feeling is mutual. Yeah, what inspired this project? What was, where did this come from?
So as the person that proposed this idea, I've used similar apps in the past that use the same concept of like gamification for personal development. But I've never seen it used for education specifically. So as a student, especially a senior, I thought it would be a very fitting idea to create something like this that's both fun to use, but also helpful for students.
That's awesome. What was the most challenging part of the project? I feel like everyone has different answers, but I definitely want to hear them.
Okay. It's true that we all have different answers because we all sort of took the lead on different aspects of the project. But I would think Harrison can speak a little bit about one of the most difficult aspects of the project.
Yeah, I think given that none of us have worked on a project like this before, that it runs on desktop and mobile, we kind of had this naive hope that we would build the desktop version and then it would just work on mobile. And a couple weeks into the project, we found out that was not the case. And then we had to make time to redesign a mobile version of the application. And that was definitely a challenge we didn't foresee at the beginning. If anyone else would like to speak on that too.
I think just in general, to add to that, all of us going into this project, thanks to Mary's like really excellent proposal, we had a really good vision of what we wanted from the application, but I don't think any of us were really deeply familiar with the stack that we were using. Some of us had a little bit of light React experience, but that was about it. So there was definitely a struggle at the beginning to learn everything we needed to learn to actually actualize our vision. So, but I think we got there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, clearly. So there's actually a really great YouTube question that I just saw fly by. How did you implement the mobile notifications if it isn't a mobile app? That was asked by Andrea.
Oh, that's going to have to be Kat.
Yeah, I can speak to that one for sure. I considered answering what was the most challenging aspect with this as well. So this is a good segue. I was on the task of notifications. And if you've been watching a couple of the other demos, like I know notifications were kind of like that last push to try to get into a lot of people's applications. It was actually a lot more difficult than I anticipated. It actually took me, for the CS people in the crowd, it took me like 2 sprints to do, unfortunately. Just because there's so many interconnected issues. It wasn't just like, oh, like put some code in and notifications will work. Like it was a lot. So I won't get too much into it. But to answer your question, so you saw in the demo on Mary's phone, she's using an iPhone, and with the new update, it actually will receive push notifications from a PWA, which is the type of app that we created, which stands for Progressive Web Application. It wasn't able to before on an iPhone, but now it is. So that's partially why we really wanted to get those notifications working, was because we wanted to take advantage of that new feature. And it'll work on desktop as well. But if you download it as a PWA, like Mary demonstrated in the demo, then you can have notifications come up on your Android or iPhone now if you have the latest update.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm seeing in the chat the link being passed around, but I don't think it was said out loud what where users can go to try the app out. If you want to speak to that.
Yeah, so you can go to studybuddy.life and sign up. We do have a development server running that's separate from our production server. So we plan to be hosting it for a good while after this, because we forked the repo and we'll be continuing to work on it as a hobby. So if you do sign up, you should expect to be able to use it for a good while. And if anything ever changes, we'll send a notification. But that is the intention, is to keep it running for some time, especially as it stays small and there's not that many users. It doesn't really cost anything to run. So we hope people do. We're excited about it.
I have one thing to add to that as well. For the Temple students in the crowd, one thing to note is that as of right now, it does not work on Temple's Wi-Fi. So hopefully that will change. But right now, if you're on Temple's Wi-Fi and you're trying to log on to it and it's not working, I'm sorry, we can't really do anything about that right now.
However, it does work with Temple's Canvas. You can actually integrate your real Temple Canvas account. There's instructions in the application. You didn't see it during the demo, but it'll walk you through all the steps. So,
yeah. Can you talk a little bit about how that integration worked? Because I know, having taught the course previously, that students usually have this kind of fear of working with the Canvas API, because there's sort of like a rumor that you can't do it. So how did you do it?
I think that fear is well founded. You'll see how we manage. You'll see how we manage it if you do go through the instructions. Basically, you can request an API token from Canvas to be able to test development builds and things of that nature, or to do integration for applications that aren't directly integrated through Temple's instance of the Canvas program. So that every university has their own little private instance of the program, right? So if we wanted to be fully integrated with Canvas, such that you could just go to the Canvas site and push a button and now all of a sudden it's integrated, we would have to get a lot of approval from Temple. And that's a months-long process. By the time we would even get started with the approval process, we would be done the project. So it's just not feasible. It is possible to spin up your own Canvas instance, but because you have to spin up the whole server program, it's like 100 gigabytes or something just to spin it up, and running it is really expensive for running it on like a home laptop or something like that. So that's also not feasible, right? So you have to go through this route of asking users to get the API token. And it's a little clunky, but it does work. And once you do this one clunky thing and we have good instructions in there on how to do it, then it's done forever and you never have to think about it again. So we thought that was the most painless route to go for the integration. But yeah, I respect the fear of trying to do Canvas integration. It can be arbitrarily hard.
And when we tried to spin up our own Canvas instance at the very beginning, Christine ended up getting like a 9 million line commit out of that, which clearly was just like not the right approach, and the token route was much better for us.
So some of the members in the other chat are asking, why doesn't the app work on Temple's Wi-Fi? I think you kind of know, but if you don't, I can kind of answer it. But
yeah, so as a blanket security measure, Temple's Wi-Fi blocks any newly registered domain. And so since we have the domain now for about a month, that's still not enough time apparently. So they just blanket block us for the next few months. But maybe by the fall, you could use Study Buddy on campus.
I'll interject to say though, I mean, we've seen other projects get through this process sooner. So it's a bit mysterious. So Ian, if you do know anything about what might be further complicating things, but that's our current working theory.
I have a weird sneaking suspicion that it's because you're using .life, but then again, I really don't know.
I agree.
Yeah,
I think if it was .com, we grew already, but .life is so unusual. They're like, no way.
$2.
Yeah, it's $2
awesome.
or $2. We went with the $2 option. Sorry, guys, we apologize. Make your donations to our Patreon link will be on the Discord. If we hit a $1 goal, we will become a .com and start working on the Temple Wi-Fi. So we'll also add more animations to Rock.
Yeah. So Tim asks, were there any features you wanted to incorporate but didn't have time to?
You stole my question, Tim.
I would say that one of the main features that we would have incorporated with more time was more pet types. You know, like we only have cats and a pet rock. If we had more time, we might have done dogs, bunnies, etc. And that also includes accessories for the pets. We have the hat, but given more time, we would have included a lot more accessories too.
Awesome. Yeah, I think the dog thing was very controversial.
Yeah.
Not controversial for me though. So, anyways, what would happen if you passed StudyBuddy.live into fishtails.net? Not totally sure how that question could be answered, but fishtails would explode. Oh no, wait, I understand. So there was a software design project for trying to scan phishing scam websites. So it would be interesting to see if how it would work, and I would be interesting to see.
I have the feeling, since we have very little in terms of collecting information about the users, I don't know exactly what the term of art here is, but you know, a lot of websites will track like, oh, where is your mouse hovering over the screen at basically all times and record it. They'll track everything kind of you're focusing on, what your scroll patterns are. And a lot of that can be really useful for making the website UI, UX feel really good. And a lot of it can also be useful for making a lot of money by selling people's user data. We don't do any of that. So I would be shocked if we would fail any kind of phishing test or any kind of suspicious website test. Because there's so little going on. Everything you put in, there's one API call and it comes back. Most of the communication is from the server to the website and not the other way, unless you initialize a click. It'd be interesting though. If they want to put it through, I would love to see the results. So,
yeah, right?
For us, I would appreciate that, Ian.
So I do have one question. Okay, so we have another, the last project was an education technology project that, you know, seems like it would pair really well with Study Buddy. what would Discord Classroom have to do in order to integrate into Study Buddy the way Canvas is integrated?
I think it depends on what their backend is. They would have to just expose an API with some kind of token validation and regularize the exchange of information. For us, we would just have to build on our side like an adapter pattern to deal with whatever API they exposed. But our patterns for taking assignments and assigning like task sizes and stuff like that are fairly straightforward. Like if it's a homework, it's a small task. If it's a test, it's a large task, right? So there shouldn't really be that much legwork you need to do for integration. Just expose an API, we'll write an adapter. I think it's the kind of thing that could be done in a week or two, depending on what their framework looks like. We use Django for our backend, which is a really robust ORM that's like really feature rich. And we use the Django REST framework to handle constructing our API. So because it's Python based, we're able to spin up new features really, really fast. The sacrifice for that is we could never be a billion user website because we have a Python backend, right? But I don't think that matters for our demographic. And the logic of our site is such that we could spin up a lot of isolated server instances and only share user profile information because there's not like a social media feature where users can communicate with each other. If we ever did have a feature like that, we would probably have to use a supplemental backend in order, like some kind of like GraphQL backend or something to just mediate that data exchange. But because we can be isolated with very minimal exchange between server instances, this was a really good solution for us.
That's pretty awesome. Also, update. My students did pop the URL into their Fishtails app, and the URL is safe. So, great job. Anyways, this has been amazing. I do want to make sure there's no other questions. It's all just fanfare at this point. So, really great job. To all of my students in class. This has been an insane semester and an amazing one. So I'm very proud of all of you. You've overcome so much and learned so much. So I hate that it's over, but I'm really excited to see what you do when you get out of here, and of course you're gonna get out of here. So happy graduation, and yeah, I hope to see you later in life. Yeah, you can find my LinkedIn, and please link with me. Keep in touch. Yeah, definitely keep in touch. But thank you to everyone that joined us too. This is it's a really important part of the project, is demonstrating to a whole new group of people. So I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much. I'm gonna